Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the Pope Answers. There's a colon in there after Pope. The Pope Answers. This is a documentary, and it is an hour and 23 minutes long. It's from 2023. It is. I did not want to watch this. I had really very little interest in it. But when I go through each quarter and start collecting all the new things that are getting added to Disney Plus, this was not really like a big announcement. They're not like, oh look, there's a new Darth Maul series or there's a new Pixar movie. This is not a kind of thing they necessarily brag about. It's on Hulu as well. And this is this is Pope Francis, this is the previous Pope, who had passed away in 2025, April 21st, I believe, a little more than a year from when I'm watching it. And while I personally had no real interest in watching this, and I figured it would probably be a boring slog, because it's just like, oh, look, an old pope, and he's going to talk to somebody, and it's going to be a puff piece. It's probably a propaganda tool for the Catholic Church or the Vatican or whatever it is. This is a man who's hobbling around on a cane. I discovered at that point he was not in good health. This is the guy J.D. Vance killed by saying hello. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm kidding. It's a joke. But it's the last man he saw, I think. I was not really interested in this because I'm not a big proponent of institutionalized religions as a whole. Having your faith, absolutely go for it as an individual. Choose your faith or whatever you're called to. Absolutely explore that, enjoy it, and use it for good. I hope you use it for good. Not for harm, as many religions often do, including Catholicism, including Christianity, okay? And we all should understand that. That has historically been a stance of the church, as we call it here in the United States. So for me, I wasn't really interested in it. Then I found out, it's an hour and 23 minutes long? Okay. Oh, wait, it's in Spanish, and I have to turn the subtitles on, so I have to read pretty much all of it. So you're gonna, if you don't speak Spanish, like 99% of this is in Spanish. There's a tiny bit of Italian, there's a little bit of English, but it's 99% Spanish. I don't even know which dialect it is because, I'll get to that in a second. So I was just like, okay, this is gonna be tough because normally I like to work on things, light things, not stuff that's going to be too intensive while I'm watching and observing these things, unless it's like something I'm really super into, like Star Wars. So yes, I'm a nerd. But when it came around to when this started, I was wrong. Everything I thought what this was about, I was wrong. And for you ladies out there, I'm going to say it to you. I know you like to hear it. I was wrong. So there you go. There's a free one. What this is the Pope showing up in looks like a bohemian loft with barely walls, but there are a security all around him, very well suited security all around, just out of range of the camera. And the Pope sits down with 10 young people. Current generation. I don't know if they fall into Gen Z or they're Gen Z. They're Gen Z. They're not Gen Alpha yet. Those are still, I imagine they're still fairly small. These are Gen Z. These are like late teens, early 20s. And they are from all over the world. There's a lot of them, again, they had to be screened to a certain degree. One, that they spoke Spanish. And, or at the very least Italian. But either way, it was going to be translated for those of us who only know English, primarily. So they came from all over. Peru, Argentina, I believe. There was one American girl, but she comes from a family in India. A guy from Senegal. There was some people in the area of Europe, Spain, and the like. And it's 10 young people. And part of this is not just them going, hey, what's it like to ride in the Pope Mobile? It's not that at all. It is. We get to know them a little bit, and it's important that we do. But they don't tell us. They don't like, hey, here's the devout Christian girl who's been Catholic her entire life. Here is the atheist. Here is the non-binary kid. Here's the feminist. No, they don't do that. A lot of the time, what we learn about each one of these kids, I know I'm going to call them kids, they're adults. What we learn about each one of these people is the fact that we learn a lot about them in the moment that he, I believe, I'm sure he might have got a primer, like, oh, well, we got this kid, they got that, we got this type of person. Like, whoever produced this obviously wanted to put a provocative mix in front of the Pope that you would not normally see. This is not like an ABC journalist just going, what are your thoughts on Ukraine? Like, it's not going to be that. It is surprisingly some hard questions. And he handles it in good stride. Toward the end, I'm sure a lot of this was edited down from a much longer conversation, or the conversation might have been done over a period of time. We do get shots from each of their home locations. Like, we get to... whoever picked them went to where they're from. And we see little pieces of their lives, the people, their family, their loved ones, the work they do, the life they lead. But they're just little tiny vignettes. There's not a majority of this is him sitting in this chair right here, talking with these young people, and you feel like you can peg each one of them as to who they might be, what their thoughts might be. And we get a little bit of a preview because they meet each other prior to the Pope showing up. They start talking about things, and as people do on the surface, it's like, oh, this is pretty exciting. I never thought I would be like talking to the Pope, and I'm certainly not going to diminish his influence and power in the world. Catholics are not a small contingent of people in the world, and they're not without influence. And when he is a man, whether you consider him chosen by God and not a committee of bishops or cardinals in the Vatican, whether he's ordained by God or not, he is a man. And he speaks to them like a man. He has a sense of humor. He jokes around. There's probably people who are Catholic and just know this guy's life inside and out. And like, oh my gosh, he's a really great pope, or he's a really bad pope, but he doesn't align with my political beliefs or my version of my religious beliefs. And none of that matters in this conversation. Each of these young people come into the conversation, and they start in early, and they hit hard. I don't want to give away a whole lot of it, because for me, I was on the edge of my seat at some points, because it's not just them talking with the Pope. There's times that he sits back and the young people talk amongst each other, because they are not all the same either, obviously. Different parts of the world, different beliefs. Again, some atheists, agnostic, some who are still young in their faith, some who have completely abandoned their faith. There's even a former nun among them. If you can figure out which one it is before they tell you, you don't win a prize, but it's still interesting. There's even, I'm assuming, an ONLYFANS person in this. So, yeah. Who's also a mother. And she's not ashamed of what she does. And she's sitting 4 feet from the Pope. And she tells him, she's not confessing, although a lot of this does feel like a kind of a high-level confessional. Like, you're not just going to the priest at the local church. You're literally talking to the top guy. Like, the top human on the planet. Okay? You're talking to the advocate for God here. They're the advocate for man. Yeah, whatever. So this is some... And they lay stuff on him that's... controversial topics that we have been fighting over for, in some cases, 50 years. You can probably guess which one that is. And there's some that you might imagine that we've been dealing with for centuries when it comes to the church. They talked to him about violence as propagated by the church. His thoughts. Okay, abortion comes up, and it is a heated. This is probably one of the longer sequences in the conversation. Yeah, and it's mostly among the kids. When he chimes in, they do reaction shots of them. And again, this is not done in a tabloid kind of sleazy gotcha kind of moment. It is not. It is not. Otherwise, I would have hated it. I would have hated it so bad. He is speaking not from a point of view where I'm like, I'm going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what I believe. He is honest. I believe he is honest in his responses to what they're asking. And he's not sugarcoating it. He is gentle in how he says it. He's not demeaning. Again, this is a man of great power, and some people that are they're not all his followers, or they're not all hardcore good kid Christian Catholics. Some of them are very cynical, and each of them get their moment. Out of the 10 different ones, each of them get their moment. I imagine there might have been more moments where the atheist kicks in and has something to say, but he gets like one sequence where he asks a question early on, and he's not necessarily combative. He's respectful, and I think that's another thing where they did choose people who were not going to be combative. They're going to actually ask a question, but you should see the reactions of the kids again, young adults, as they reveal who they are, honestly, and there are tears, honest tears. It is not a Jerry Springer, again, gotcha TMZ moment. It is not. It's honest. It feels honest. And again, I've seen enough reality TV show due to this series that I'm doing that I know when there's BS being thrown around. One kid confesses to his abuse at the hands of somebody in the church, and how the church pretty much let the guy get away with it. There's one girl who just honestly comes out as she's like, I'm a Catholic, I'm devout, I've grew up in the church, I teach even in the church, but I'm a feminist too. And what do you feel about the women's role in the church? Could a woman ever be in your position? So how does he handle that? And again, the right to life or pro-life versus pro-choice thing with the abortion argument. And again, most of the kids handle that. It's primarily the females, the women, females. The women have the voice in this. One guy does speak up, and I'm just like, no, dude, stay out of it. Really. And there is one girl who is very much she's got her indoctrination down. So I've felt always about that topic, whether it matters that I have an opinion. No. Great, I have an opinion. I'm not the person to be telling a woman what to do with her body. So that's my stance on that. I can, or I can go, that. Yeah. So what you get here from the Pope, again, is not going to be something that you will feel good about every one of his answers based on who you are. Yeah. You can tell either he's getting a little bit tired toward the end. He's a lot perkier and a lot friendlier and a lot funnier. He has a great rapport with the young adults, and it comes across he comes across really well. But the hard questions require hard answers, and I don't think I've ever seen a situation. Normally, whenever I've seen the Pope, he's in a window, he's waving to people, or he's meeting dignitaries, and that's never an indication of who the person is. And maybe he'll give a blessing or something at Easter or Christmas or whatever else. And I don't pay attention to those either. I'm not Catholic, but I don't pay attention to those. So you don't see who he is as a man, and it is important that we see him as a man. He is human. So he is a very powerful and influential position in this world. Whether he should or not, whether such a role should exist, is a whole different conversation that is not addressed in this. But there are moments you can almost feel him squirm. You can see the necklace he's wearing. It's his hands are right out of frame, but that necklace, it starts moving a little bit. He's got to tell. He's got a little bit of a nervous tick. So he's listening to what one of the young people are saying, something that's just a really difficult question. It's the kind of question you would ask your local priest to comment on. Like, you're the pastor of your church, whatever church you go to. By the way, one of the kids is also a Muslim. So we don't just have devout Christian Catholics and atheists, agnostics. We have people who are of the faith but are non-binary. We have a fallen nun. We have a super devout girl who, I think in the middle of this, is realizing that she is blessed with a life that is, while it's not difficulty free, it is, her faith is as strong as it is mainly because it hasn't been challenged the way those around her have. And that's another aspect that comes out of this. So it's kind of neat. So I actually encourage you to watch this. I thought I was going to do 5 minutes on this and go, okay, I watched it, and they're like Catholic talking, and they're doing puff pieces. Like, I just figured it was propaganda. That's what I thought it was going to be. I was wrong. So, one more for you. The Pope, he's got answers. They're all in Spanish, and you put those subtitles on if you don't know Spanish. Give it a shot. If you are religious or religious adjacent, Christian, Catholic, or adjacent, he has some really good things to say, and there are some things that you might not agree with. Even though the kids, when they're just talking at the very beginning, amongst themselves, before he shows up, they're like getting to know each other. They're like, I like the fact that he's a little bit more liberal. And he's not. He is, but again, he's put in the corner a number of times and has to answer in a way that projects his faith, the policies of the church, and himself as a man. So, yeah. So that's, to me, that's what made it exciting. Like, when I'm reading along as fast as I can, just like, what is he going to say to this? Oh man! And like, even when the questions are coming out, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, if that was ever a question you were going to ask the Pope, I mean, they just asked it. If you ever had a question for the Pope about the way the world is, but the way the world is, they asked it. You might have more questions. If you had more questions that you think they should have asked, put them in the comments. I usually don't make a big deal about putting things in the comments, but I'm never against it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be able to answer them for you. I am not the Pope yet. Let's pick tomorrow's episode. I'll never be the Pope. I don't want to be the Pope. 10. 10. Haha. A friend of mine was talking to me about this show yesterday, and, well, I'm going to watch it. One episode. There's also a spin off set in Australia, but yeah, we're going to watch one episode of the main series and see how it goes. This one's called Alone, and Alone Australia. When there's shows that have like a lot of spin-offs, like Fixer Upper, I had 5 different shows. I don't need to watch all five of them to get the concept behind Chip and Joanna's love of shiplap. Okay, so I get it. So I'm gonna watch Alone, and we'll take it from there. Alone is what we're watching next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that.